In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, God is one. Amen. Christ is risen, Christos anesti, Christos enviat, Christos voskressi, and so on. Good morning, Anthony. You're meant to greet me in Welsh, but I can't answer you in Welsh. It's too difficult, and I don't have enough tissues. Absolutely beautiful day here, and I hope it is with you. We'll be where Anthony is just over the back of the hill here. Much the same, actually. Good morning, Declan. He's risen indeed. A beautiful, lovely day today. I hope everybody had a beautiful feast yesterday. It was jolly cold here in the afternoon. I was putting up the new notice board that we have for the front of the monastery, the old one having fallen to bits. Hello, Tracy. Good morning, Amelia. Christ is risen indeed. So we've got this nice new big one with our signs on it and so on. Good morning, Graham. Christ is risen. Good morning, Mary. Alithos Anesti. Your computer's working. It's told you to get up. Good morning, Phoebe. Risen indeed. So this one actually has a great benefit. You can read it. The last one was being eaten by the woodlice, by a woodworm. It even had a few snail slugs and all sorts of other critters all inside it. Good morning, Andrew. Christ is risen. So that was my big news yesterday. And then making a shrine as well and repairing some seats for people to sit on outside. While I was doing this, I hadn't realized how cold I was getting. I got really, really cold to the point I didn't sleep too well last night. It just carried on, seemed to go right to the very center of me. Ooh, even in Afrikaans. Good morning, Sissy. Good morning, Vicky. Christ is risen indeed. Good morning, Alan. Yeah, the pictures of the monastery, if you didn't see them, have a look, and also the little video at about 4:45 yesterday morning. Today was even better, but I didn't want to make everybody jealous. And looking out of this little side window here, I can see for miles, really for miles. Funny, you don't really think that when you're looking at the stars, do you? They can see for light years away. But down here on Earth, it's great to be able to see 30, 40 miles. And there's no haze at all today. It's completely clear. No vapor trails, not a single cloud in the sky that I can see. So your prayers, Father Alexander. Christ is risen indeed. So here we go. Father Hanania, Messiah. I was going to send you a message earlier on this morning to see how you were and how Elmer is, and just to make sure all is going well. But I didn't get round to it. I was busy doing other things. But it's lovely to see you there, and please give everybody in Batramin my love. I'd love to come and see you, but I think that it's not going to be possible this year. I'm sure we're going to be on lockdown for a very long time, and the aircraft are either not going to be flying or they're going to be so expensive it just won't be possible for me. Anyway, here we go. Today we're going to be looking at Mark chapter 1, verses 32, God willing, all the way to 34. So you say, my goodness, he's planning to do all of this. Glad to hear that, Father. That's Father Hanania. That's really good news. Down on the list here, he's down as Camille Katrib, but his real name is Father Hanania. He's the parish priest in Batramin, which I always think about as my village in Lebanon. And it's just a beautiful place. I was going to say, you need to get onto my site and look at it, but actually I'm not sure. It might be on my Facebook site. You can look and see what it's like. It's lovely there. And the church is beautiful and extraordinary and historic. And the village itself is like a, well, I'll shut up. Kit, good morning. Peace, pax et bonum to you too. Petronella, risen indeed. Mariana, I'm praying for you, Mariana. Christos enviat. I hope things are okay. It is, Tracy. It's a lovely place. Lebanon is a beautiful country, and for all its problems, it's sorted out its problems. It should be one of the wealthiest countries on earth. And it should have an economy that would make someone like Hong Kong look like a starter nation. Where it's situated and the way that it is and the beauty of it and the mountains, the sea, the climate, its situation, its natural resources, the education system, fantastic place, but bedeviled by politics. There we are. Malengeth, you mustn't test me. The Lord didn't like testing, and I don't either. Here we go. So let's read you the bit we're going to do. At evening, when the sun had set, this is verse 32 of chapter 1, they brought to him all who were sick and those who were demon-possessed. And the whole city was gathered together at the door. When he healed many who were sick, then he healed many who were sick with various diseases and cast out many demons. And he did not allow the demons to speak because they knew him. Well, that's what it says in English anyway, and let's have a little closer look at it. So it was evening. So this is happening on Saturday evening. So now it is Sunday, because of course we measure the day from evening to evening. And that's because if you look at Genesis, you'll see that it says there was evening and there's morning, the first day. So when evening comes, we go on to the next day. So it's Saturday evening, in the English way of thinking about it, which means that in a Hebrew way of thinking of it, it is now the evening of Sunday, the evening that ushers in Sunday. Now, why is that important? It's important for a whole series of reasons, but there's a really important one. What happened on the very, very, very first Sunday? You can't answer me because I can't hear you. But the answer is this. Well, the earth was void and without form. It had nothing in it and no shape. And God, the Trinity, spoke. So you have here Christ, the Holy Spirit, hovering upon the water. And it says, and God separated the light and the darkness. And then he says something really interesting. He doesn't say he looked at the light and the darkness and said, it is good. It says, he looked at the light and saw it was good. Oh, now ain't that interesting? And that really is what the rest of this little passage is about. That God, in the very beginning of the good news, which is the creation of everything, separates light and darkness, and he looks at the light and sees that's good. He calls it good. Now, darkness is the realm of chaos, the realm of Satan, the place where illness and disease and destruction and gnashing and grinding of teeth happens, and where the dogs sit out in the darkness in Revelation, howling. Poor dogs. I was wondering this morning during Matins how to grind my teeth and gnash them, so it came up in one of the Psalms. I don't really know. It sounds like a funny thing to be doing. I had a moment when I was giggling away to myself behind the icon screen and thinking I better shut up, otherwise we'll wonder what's happened to me. Anyway, gnashing and grinding in teeth, darkness, bad place. It's the time and the place of the demons. If you go to hell, it's a place of darkness, of gloom, of ever greater coldness. Andrew, alithos anesti. Okay, so that's important to know. And now the sun has set. And Mark is actually good at doing this. He says things twice, and he's doing it in a very typical way, the way that Mark does it. He says, at evening, well, you know it's going to be dark. When the sun had set, so he's just rubbing it in. He's making it quite clear that you know in your head that it is dark. And you're thinking, oh, it's Sunday and it's dark. What happened on Sunday? God divided the light and the dark. He made one into one, the other one into something else. I'm just laughing at what Alan has said about Teddy. I love Teddy. Teddy has a completely wonderful way of looking at things, and he gets out all sorts of stuff. You know, I think we might not get beyond verse 32 today, because this is so important. I want you to remember it. If anybody has any gnashing of teeth lessons in the Barton family, maybe Amelia, you can have a go at it and spend the day practicing your gnashing of teeth, though I hope that you'll be going to heaven. You won't need that particular skill. And what we see here on this Saturday evening, which is Sunday, is the Lord overcoming darkness. And that's really the important thing. He who is light, he who is bathed in light, he who is love, he who separated the darkness from the light, he who gets transfigured with light before Moses and Elijah. He brings light to Capernaum, outside the door of St. Peter. See how important that is. How it is we're beginning to see the gospel having an effect. At evening, when the sun had set, they brought to him all who were sick and those who were demon-possessed. Those people, in other words, who were in darkness. Amelia, he's risen indeed. Those people who were in darkness, those people who were almost as good as dead. And we just look at those words, sick. And it's really interesting, that one. Actually, in the Greek, it says those were held by evil, kakos. And those were held by evil, by badness. It means those who were sick. Those sick in the American sense rather than the English sense. Those who were ill, those who were diseased in English. And those who are demon-possessed. So those who are held and those who are possessed. The light sets them free. The presence of Christ himself is what sets you free. If you don't have Christ, you're held. You're held by all sorts of daft things, stupid things. But if you have Christ, you're set free. Free to, as the Mother of God says, free to worship without fear. And that's wonderful. And given that it's now 15 minutes past 10, that's where we ought to end. The others in the monastery have gone out. They've gone to the doctors, actually. They've had to put on gloves. They've had to put on masks. That's what the doctor says. They can't come in through the front. You have to go in through the back. Not quite sure why. Presumably they have some sort of waiting area there where you can stand 2 meters away from each other. But that's the way that we are. We are ourselves held. We are possessed by a virus, minute little thing. And we need the light of Christ to shine in us. Like I love it when Pascha. As a moment, we've had the midnight office in Pascha. It's ground on. It's always done very quietly. It's dark. There are two little candles in the church. It's great to do this in a whopping great church, where there's just 2 little pinpoints of light. And then there's a pause. There's always a pause, because the priest has to light his paschal candle. And you can guarantee that it won't light. But there's this pause. And then suddenly the candle lights. And the door is opened. And the priest says, come receive the light that has overcome darkness. And people come forward, they light their candles. And you then see this light go off down into the back of the church. Only the priest really sees this particular phenomenon. It's wonderful. You see the gospel actually spreading out, the resurrection, I shall burst into tears if I'm not careful. Spreading off into the church. And that, sharing the light, being the light, coming to Christ who is the light, taking our light and then giving it to somebody else. You know, if you give a light to somebody, if you light somebody else's candle, you don't lose anything, nothing at all. But the whole place becomes lighter. It's like love, isn't it? If I have an apple and I give you an apple, I've lost an apple, you've gained an apple. But if I have love and I love you, you will love me, and both of us have gained. I have my love and your love. You have your love and my love. And so it goes on. It's one of the most beautiful things that happens in the whole of the church, that sharing of light, which is Christ rising through the congregation and then spilling out into the churchyard and around the church. And people often have little what do they call them? Little candle holders, lanterns, little lanterns. And these lanterns then go home with them. So the light spreads out all the way home with them too. It's great, it's beautiful. And it's a beautiful, lovely day today. I'm going to be doing a lot of woodwork. I've got to finish off one of the shrines. I am going to be making some shells in the back here. I hardly dare mention the fact that I'm going to be making 40 pints of stout ale, chocolate-flavoured ale. That sounds rather nice, doesn't it? You're going to think that we spend our entire time completely sozzled. We don't. It's a very rare thing we do that, but there we go. Okay, so pray for each other. You can see who each other are by looking at this list over here. I love the way that people then respond to each other as well. That's very beautiful. And if you want me to pray for you, there's somewhere you can write down there. Easy to find my address, or my email is fr.philip, Father Philip, @gmx.com. So you can write and you can ask for prayers, or you can get onto my website and do it that way. Maybe I'll put the website on today. And that reminds me to say to Melengath that I think it'd be good if you gather together your teaching material into one group so that people can easily find it, because even I found difficulty finding each of the 3 lessons now, because they're spread out all the way through St. Anne and All Saints of Worcester site. Okay, your prayers. God bless you. We are indeed the light of the world. Christ is the light. We become the light. And like that candle, as you light up with Christ, as the candle starts to burn and shed light, it turns entirely into air, into wind, into pneuma, into spirit. Nice little thought. Your prayers, God bless you. Christ is risen. Christos envia.